Does AI have problems? Hello, I'm Chris Thance. I'm a KMP developer. Tech support's coming out for Tuesday. We already discussed this many times. And we're going to be reacting to an Internet of Bugs, one of my favorite channels. He is a little bit about the same age as me. He's been in the industry about the same amount of time. I took a break. He kept going through it. And he's still like, I can't tell if his demeanor is like, he knows a lot of this stuff is bullshit and he's just trying to be coy about it. Or it's more like, because underneath, because he seems to have the same attitude I have. It's like, this AI stuff is pretty good. Whatever they call the AI, this keyword, next keyword predictor. Analysis system, stochastic randomly, whatever they want to call it, what they're calling AI these days, is definitely got a lot to be discerned. And we both have been through these hype cycles a few times, and we have a history. We know some things that have happened in the past. We've been tracking this thing almost the whole time, and a lot of those things they said was right around the corner was just really actually not around the corner at all. And let's get into it.
In this channel's comments seem to insist I don't believe and have never said that AI is useless. There are tasks that I don't think today's AIs are capable of doing a decent job of, but there are many tasks for which this generation of AIs are superhuman.
Yeah.
Things that have very clear, measurable success criteria that can be used as a fitness function to train the AIs.
Yeah.
For example, it's been decades since humans could beat computers in chess. They've surpassed us in Go. AI protein folding won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2024, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's a huge variety of tasks in between that AIs might or ought to be able to do to some degree of success. Today, we're going to be talking about one of those, a task that an AI could do in theory, but is failing at in practice, at least to my standards. We're going to talk about why that might be and what that might mean to those of us that want to do real practical work with AI.
Yeah.
Google, you'd think, ought to have the resources to have state-of-the-art AIs.
If anybody does,
they announced recently
it would be them. It would be them if anybody had it.
Right? AI find of a zero-day security vulnerability.
And they'd be demonstrating it, and they'd be showing it, they'd be demonstrating it, they'd be showing it off, and none of this kayfabe, they'd be the real-time, live, doing it in person, no pre-recorded, no somebody in the background, no room in India, doing humans actually scanning every transaction, not actually an AI anywhere in the room, but what AI could be. It's like, stop with that shit. So all this stuff has to be demonstrated, and the fact that they're not demonstrating it shows that we actually have seen the limit of what they have available, and it's gonna get a little bit better. But what we've got now, this stochastic next keyword search thing, is pretty much the limit of what they have. Because if they actually had this stuff actually working like they did, like they actually said they do, with all the it'll be placed in engineer, blah blah blah, the problem he's about to go into would be fixed a long time ago.
And that's really cool. However, there are relatively simple tasks that Google AIs ought to be able to do that it does much, much worse job of than it ought to, and that an average human can do.
Yeah.
And there's one such specific task that drives me crazy almost every day. And that causes issues for lots and lots of people on this platform on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
If you're watching this video, you're almost certainly affected by this garbage.
Yeah,
YouTube's AI-generated subtitles are just...
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah, if they actually had the AI that they say they have, the subtitling, which I've been tracking as my hearing is from listening to too much loud music when I was a kid, too much metal, too much dubstep, too much freaking electronic music. Anyway, so my ears are kind of fried, and so I've been reading the subtitles, and they're terrible. No context, no repeat, doesn't realize what they're talking about, has no idea what the whole thing's about, just phonetically getting it wrong, phonetically spelling it. It's goofy. Let's keep going.
This is the Internet of Bugs. My name is Carl. I've been a computer professional for more than 35 years now. And I get incredibly and professionally irritated by bugs that should be fixable, but that haven't been, and apparently aren't being fixed.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. It's like the rough details just to get the press release out. That kind of sort of works in certain circumstances, but then when you actually go, says it's going to be everything to everybody ever wanted. Oh, let's go see if they're true. Sure enough, lied. Or exaggerated beyond belief, and you try and get the same thing. Don't reproduce it. So they p-hacked all the results. They asked it 500 times, and one time out of the 500 it got it right. It's like, look, I got it right. Look. It's like, yeah, but what about the 499 times I've wasted my time dealing with this bullshit artist called an AI GPT. Jesus
First
Christ.
20, 25 years of my career were before the cloud was really a thing.
Yeah, me
which meant
too.
all the places I worked had to host their own computers, and I spent lots of time in server rooms without hearing protection.
That's
so
bad.
Now,
shouldn't have done that.
I need hearing aids. and I watch videos with subtitles on.
Yeah,
Protect your
me
hearing,
too.
kids. This has been your
But
public.
I actually got joy out of my hearing loss. He got pain. He was paid well. I paid for mine. At least he was paid well for being these server farms with the fans on high. Oh, there's not a problem with your hearing.
Anyway, I see a lot of video subtitles, and the subtitles
I knew I was destroying my hearing. Okay, keep going, whatever.
YouTube are among the worst. I could spend hours and hours going through example after example
It's
after example of
bad.
YouTube
Oh, yeah,
subtitles
it's
being awful,
terrible.
but that would get old. So I'm just going to show you a couple of examples so that I have some specifics
Okay.
to refer to as we go
All
through
right,
the
yeah,
video.
okay, cool.
So one more quick aside before the examples. I made a 2-minute long video to show YouTube creators how easy it is to fix their own captions. with
Right, but who
step-by-step
wants to go fix captions, man? We got other things to do. The machine should be handling this stuff. They said it can handle it. They said the subtitling is great. It's like it hasn't been improved in years. You think that'd be one of the first things to just say, go do fix it. Go do better. No? Can't not that's not the AI, can't do that? Oh, okay.
instructions and explain why correct captions will help them get more views and more viewers. And it's linked from this video.
They don't care. That's not the purpose. They don't care about that. That's not the purpose. That would not actually solving a real problem. Like subtitles, people are like, don't even use them. I don't care. Like that's not a pump. It's not going to pump their stock price, buddy. It's all stock price pumping. Come on now.
Put it at iob.fyi/YTCC. You need help remembering that. It stands for Internet of Bugs. For your information /YouTube closed captions. If you are a YouTuber, please take the time to fix your captions. And if
I'm not going to. No. Have Google fix those because they got all the AI stuff. So I'm not going to go through my captions. No.
YouTubers that you follow that you think might benefit from him, please send the link. I've even turned monetization
If
off.
I was doing content for hearing impaired, yes. For foreign listeners, yes. But I'm not going to go through and fix my subtitles. You're asking me to do another 2 hours of work on top of it. I've been recording the video. You're crazy. No.
They shouldn't even have to sit through any ads to watch it. Okay, I guess that's 2 public service announcements for the day.
Whatever.
I'm done now, though. I
Guys,
promise.
well,
So
we're on the internet. I don't know if you knew this. This is all sales driven. So there's going to be ads. We're not going to get away from ads. Ads are going to be everywhere. The entire Western world culture is saturated with materialism and all that stuff. If we're going to have ads, this is going to wait. Look, if we want to have a salary, we got to have ads. Okay, let's not try and get away from doing it. Like, what kind of society would you have without ads?
here's a screenshot from a channel called AI Master. Now, no endorsement implied. I haven't even watched this video. I found it by searching YouTube
Ooh,
for
AI Master,
Chad GPT.
right.
That's Chad ending with a D as in dog or delta, and with a middle letter of the abbreviation being B as in boy or Bravo instead of P as in Papa like it's supposed to be.
Okay.
This video has 250,000 views, and the channel has almost 100,000 subscribers, so it's doing okay. In fact, it's the first search result for me when I search for ChatGPT spelled correctly as all one word. You would think that Google's AI would know that ChatGPT is a word. Google Trends certainly does. And before you think it's just a 6-month-old video, here's one from last week, where it not only transcribed it as GBT, as in Google Bad Titles, but also sometimes as GBD, which I guess could be an AI created by Batman to help the Gotham Police Department. I don't know. But that's not a spoiler. Just kidding. Don't worry, there are no spoilers at all in this video.
Whatever.
And I
He
say
watches way too many sci-fi Superman movies. Okay, whatever.
that because my next example involves a TV show called Severance that started its 2nd season last week. Now, because of that, the cast has been doing a lot of interviews to promote it. The only thing I'm going to say about that show is that the show has some characters that are referred to as innies and some characters that are referred to as outies, like belly buttons are referred to sometimes. YouTube's transcriptions are all over the place when it comes to spelling innie, usually just makes up a jumble of letters. And with outie, it usually thinks it's a brand of German cars, which makes no sense at all.
It's ridiculous. You would think that this stuff they would say, look, this AI is so great that we've actually in the last 2 weeks just revamped our subtitle system. And they would say like, wow, really? And they were going to be demonstrating the fact that this AI is figuring out how to do context and super speeding up all these processes and make it super fast. Instead of waiting 17 months to get the thing out, it's out in a couple of weeks because the AI is that good. No demonstration of that. No, something simple like that. Something easy that's been broken, obviously broken for years. No, it's just stock prompt. We're going to replace the programmer. Okay.
Google Search UI, the stupid one that says you should eat glue and rocks, it knows the correct words and spellings and can explain what they mean in the context of the show, which I blurred out here because, like I said, no spoilers. And if you do a YouTube search for those terms, you get a lot of hits. Interviews, some reviews, some explainer videos, etc. Which means that YouTube has a search index of those terms in the context of a TV show named Severance.
They know all of it stuff. They
and
have
before you
all
say,
the
well, it
data.
hasn't had time to get updated, here's a YouTube video from March 21st of 2022 discussing the episode 6 of season 1 with those terms in the first line of the description. So it's had a couple of months shy of 3 years to figure it out. And there are a ton of other videos since then. This is just the oldest one I could find in a couple of minutes of searching. Okay, so aside from me bitching about how
This is like super low-hanging fruit. That should be real easy, like completely obviously simple. If this AI was anywhere close to what they say it is, we're so far away from actually. I mean, some of the stuff is useful, yes, but like it's grain of salt. All this stuff, and just assume they're lying until they demonstrate any of this stuff. Anything they come out with, just assume it's a lie because they've lied about every single thing so far. They've overhyped it. It's like, what it could be like, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when everyone is dead, And you've got your stock price, and oh yeah, what about the lie you told us last year? No, we got paid, so you're good. We've decided that superintelligence means $100 billion of investment. Doesn't mean actually doing anything. No. We're not demonstrating anything except that we get our ability to pump stock price. Do stock buyback.
Really? Okay, let's try that again. Aside from me complaining about how bad YouTube's captions are, what's the point of this video? This is one of the most practical, large-scale examples of how AI is currently deployed to do real work in the real world. Computer recognizing speech, especially in English, go back at least to 1952.
Oh man, one of the first things they came out with, they were saying that this is how it will just be able to talk to the computer in like 5 years. They always got 5 years. Why is it 5 years? Why is it? And then if the 5 years shows up, and can we get an interview about the 5 years that you promised, that you said was just around the corner? No. There's some real intractable problems that aren't going to go away. No. Okay.
Labs introduced Audrey, a computer that could recognize the spoken digits 1 to 9 with a 90% accuracy.
Yeah, so they were super, but like was just one person training and he had to say it exactly the same way every single time. Is that really what is that really what we're training them? Is that really what people want? Is one person trained with one set that says the same word exactly the same way every single time? And then, oh yeah, the computer understood your language. It's amazing. Well, 5 years from now, we'll have it all completed.
Plus years later, and one of the largest, if not the largest installation of speech recognition, does get the vast majority of the words correct, but it still falls down on unusual terms. And I'd argue that those unusual terms are the ones that are the most important to get right for search terms.
They have the ability to detect all this and analyze it, but why don't they demonstrate it? If all of it's so great, why don't they demonstrate it? Because they can't.
When you're searching for something, you want to search for the thing that's the most unusual,
it's not
right?
There yet.
Searching for common terms like the are just useless. There's a phrase you might hear in computational search, TF-IDF, which stands for term frequency.
You have to understand the context. The English language is super complicated, and people use words in different ways, and there's lots of different meanings, and depending on the user, maybe using a different definition, and it has to be context specific. Maybe they defined this term earlier in the conversation. I was using it in a completely different way. You're never going to get all that. Come on.
The inverse document frequency. That's roughly a measure of the number of times the term you're searching for appears in a given page or document, compared to the average count of that word appearing in the average document. It's a measure of the relevance of a document to a given search term, and it dates back to Karen Spark Jones in 1972. And it makes sense intuitively, right? The best search terms are the words that are most likely to be relevant to what you want to find, but are least likely to show up somewhere else. That's why you're much better off using Golang as a search term instead of Go if you want to know about the Go programming language.
Oh, yeah.
Which means, arguably, that the unusual words are the ones that are most important, or at least the very important to get correct. But YouTube's transcriptions, which are used to serve search results, in addition, of course, it uses titles and descriptions and keyword stuff. That transcription does a worse job with most of those words than with common words, which is bad. Okay. So you'd think they'd fix it if they could, right? Now, it's possible that YouTube just doesn't care.
Yeah, when they don't care, they should care. It's a big model they could train on and improve their supremacy. But no, we're going to replace all the programmers. Like, you're not going to replace all the programmers.
Get it correct, but I wouldn't think so, and I wouldn't hope so.
But that makes the stock go pump in price, and then NVIDIA stump, and it saves the economy because everyone pumps their money into these stocks to replace programmers. Okay.
If for no other reason than they're currently pushing their new auto-dubbing translation service, and they must be spending a ton of money and effort on that. It doesn't make sense to me that they'd spend what's obviously a lot of effort on translations, but not care about getting good versions of the core text that the translations are based on. So I think they probably do care, but maybe not a whole lot. So let's consider a better question. Yeah. They would fix it if it were easy to fix, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So by extension, then, the answer must be, it must not be easy to fix.
Right. That's only the Occam's razor. I know it's like, we're debating, Look, if they could fix it by now with this wonderful technology, with the replacement of the engineers, this would already be done. This would be done in 2 weeks. But the fact that they can't do it.
That we're software developers, and or people who want to use the current generation of AIs to do real practical work, then understanding what's going on here could be very useful. And if you're not in one of those categories, I don't know why you're still watching, but thanks for the engagement. I don't have any inside knowledge. I don't know anybody in that part of Google. So this is just educated speculation.
Oh, we got no people over there? Like, as if those people that are left over there were the people that would be employing. Look, man. I don't know if I think you know this, but maybe you don't know this. It's like most of the stuff that Google have, they didn't invent it there. It's not an invention place. It's an acquisition place. They go buy it from people out there that have already figured it out and said, here, Google, give me $1 billion. Here's your thing. Here's your problem solved. Google isn't making this shit. They acquire it.
But these are the conclusions I think are relatively safe to draw from this situation. First off, we need to face the fact that AI does not just work out of the box, at least not at scale. If we're going to use it for something practical, or if someone's going to try to use it to replace an employee who does practical work, it's very unlikely to just work out of the box. If it worked well, it would work well for Google.
Yes, they would already be done with the... Look, man, if it actually worked the way they said, they would not be selling it. They'd be charging people. They wouldn't even be charging. They would just start wiping out companies. They would just start destroying industries. They wouldn't be, we're going to sell our engineers. No, they'll just wipe them out. Or keep it to themselves and wipe everybody out. And you just see that one technology after released every other week, one after the other after the other. Here's a replacement, here's a replacement, here's a replacement, no fee, or 1/10th the cost. Here's a new Photoshop, here's a new Lightroom, here's a new thing, whatever. But you don't see that because it's not even there. It's all fucking, this is another game they're playing. They're getting the Netflix addicted sci-fi baby. So, I'm going to put all my money in the 401k and then NVIDIA because it's going to replace my job next week. There's a lot of sales going on. A lot of kayfabe, a lot of famous, a lot of scams being run, stock price pumping, stock pull, crypto scam, stock price scam. It's all sales.
I'll put a link in the description. Someone has just done a write-up on their first month with Devin, and it turns out that it just doesn't work out of the box either.
Well, no shit, Dick Tracy. This is another one of the scams. Like, oh my God, they're gonna replace it. It was made by a competitive program with big fuck glasses, so you know it's gotta be real. I'm gonna do another video on that. This is the Devin scam, $2 billion scam. It's just constant scam. So we cannot look at this point with anyone that's like taking this stuff at face value. And like, I love this guy. He's like super dry humor about some of this stuff. I can't tell unless he's like, no, I guess they might be able to do it. I gotta just get some people fix my contacts at Google. You go find out what the real deal is. Look, if it was the real deal, it would already be in your face. Be like pumping out like, oh yeah, we just replaced a new operating system. We have a new operating system from the bottom up, totally customizable, all AI integrated. You can ask it what application you want to have written, and it'll just do it for you. No, we don't see that? Okay, whatever, man.
That's a common theme with a lot of the AI hype.
And this should be done in a couple weeks. If they had a real solid computer, because you just scale that bad boy up, it would just be solving all the problems, right? Be solving all the issues. No, doesn't exist. You're not seeing it? Okay, if they were able to have these things, we would be able to demonstrate these applications being a whole new replacement. Your Google Suite, gone. You want to have your own private, custom messaging, private message encrypted app? Instantly give it to you. Not, it could be maybe, or we're going to help you out with the code, and you really got to know how everything works. And no, it says a setup, puts it all together, it secures it, it goes completely scanning it all, it puts your customer service training, the whole thing. No, we don't see it because it doesn't exist. They don't have it. They're just trying to pump their stock price for the next quarter, so they're not out of business. It's been like this it's been the constant. It's been the same thing the whole time.
Stuff correct right off the bat, and it seems like the problem is very close to being solved. But then when you dig into the details, you discover that getting the last few percent...
It's all details, man. It's all the last 50%. Anytime last 5% takes 50% of the time. If you've ever been on a software project, and I've been on plenty that were not well thought through. Shocker! Like, not like we have this ability to think things through. It's like the ones that are thought through get acquired. You're not going to work on somebody else's. They stick it out because they know they got something on the. They don't hire somebody else to come in and fix it. It's been so terrible. Unbelievable the quality that we're expected to deal with, and how people just come in half-cocked. Oh yeah, I'll solve all things, everything done, and then get 6 months into it, they hit the wall at the last 95%, which takes half the time. Right, the last 5% takes half the time, and they're like, I can't take it. I gotta get out of here. I'm getting 26 offers. And do they finish the project? No, we'll just get somebody else to come in and fix it. That's usually me.
So
I've seen so much garbage. So much garbage. I can't believe some of the stuff they got away with. And it's like, no, this is normal. This is fine. It's like, no.
A ton more effort, and until that part works, the whole final output product suffers. Second, I can say anecdotally that YouTube's transcription does poorer on newer things. Both of the examples that I'm using here are things that are 3 years old or so, but that seems...
It should be perfect. If there would be an actual demonstration of their technologies to perfect this stuff, but they don't. They don't even think about it. They don't worry about it. It's like such a low rung. It's like it'd be one that would be super obvious. They'd go through all the old videos. They'd fix up all the transcriptions and just be doing it overnight. And be all of a sudden you wake up one day and all the translations are perfect. Everything's perfect. Everything looks great. It's like you rarely find an error.
New still.
We don't see that, right? We don't see it because it's not there. They're so far away from that shit.
Volume of data older than that. LLMs seem to have a primacy bias or a familiarity bias. They seem to weigh answers more highly if they've seen them earlier
whatever,
or more
it's
often in
just
the training set.
algorithms, of course.
I haven't done or seen a rigorous statistical analysis of this, but it seems to be the case.
Nah, you
And not
won't
just
ever
this, but
see
with
it.
many of my
Well, we're not going to see a statistical what? It's because we know it doesn't work. We can look at the evidence of it. We don't need to have statistical analysis. We can just look at the subtitles as they go across. It's just screw up. Every other line, screw up. And as a person, like, you have to like phonetically change. It's like, okay, they meant this word, or oh, they were talking about this thing over here. Like, I have to do the translation. It's so bad. Anyway, just proof that they're really far away. Really far away.
previous findings, like the work I did on AI-generated prime number seeds with Proof News.
From what they say, we're still using these tools. Don't get me wrong. I'm using the shit out of these tools. But the thing that they say it's going to be, they're replacing everybody's jobs forever.
So now we've got that out of the way, there are some guesses we can make and some conclusions we can try to reason through. These could be wrong, but they seem to be decent working hypotheses to me. One possibility is that modern ChatGPT or Google Gemini generation AI is so hideously expensive that YouTube doesn't make enough money to afford it, and YouTube is forced to use an old crappy AI, which means that what we're talking about today isn't relevant to LLM's projects. If that's true, that says some really scary things about how unlikely AI is to be useful or at least affordable anytime soon.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case, and I doubt it is. If for no other reason than if it was just a cost issue, there's a much better solution.
Look, man, they've been talking about this for a couple of years now. If the stuff that they said was actually true, they would be demonstrating it up and down. It wouldn't even have to hype it. It would just be like, here it is. Ask it what you want. It'll do it for you. You got a free trial, 30 days. And then we're going to make sure you locked out. If you try and cheat us or try to open it on the ground now, RA is going to find your shit and they're going to ban you for life. So don't try and scam it, because we'll just ban you for life.
Only a tiny fraction of videos get very many views. See this graph, which means that you could use a modern AI to generate the captions on the important videos, the ones likely to get a lot of views, like the ones from really big channels about Grammy-winning TV shows, and then you could use a cheap AI on the rest of the videos. But
what are you talking about, man? Okay.
Given that if you look at the screenshots of the interviews earlier in the video, you notice that both of those interview channels have more than 1 million subscribers. One of them has 18 million. So if it were feasible to use a modern AI on that fraction of videos that were important, I would expect those two, or at least the big one, to have gotten the good AI. And obviously, the AI didn't do a good job, so I don't think that's it. The next possibility is that the problem is just intractably hard. Even the best possible modern technology can't distinguish Audi, the protruding belly button, from Audi, the car brand. And I just don't buy that. It's easy for us to tell the truth.
We demonstrated already, so I do buy it. I buy it. Because that's what's being sold. That's the current demonstration of the level of technology that they actually have.
In the Audi, because it's right there in the title of the video. With context, it's blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
Now, there may certainly be some words that can't be distinguished by the AI.
I think they're still using some old AI, but you would make sense that they would just. This is their use. It's like Google would be demonstrating. Hey, man, we have a technology that just blows everything out of the water. We gave this thing until go fix it. It fixed it. Well, now you can see the subtitles are all great, and they're all going back to all the previous ones. We're not using some new AI, old AI. We're using all the newest, latest crap, and we're redoing everything. It was done overnight because we have this technology that just blows everything out of the water. We're not seeing that, so it doesn't exist. That's really, it's everything else. They've been caught lying so many times. Like that's all they do is lie. So why would we believe them when they say they're coming out with something new and amazing? When you actually go look into each one of these damn stories, if you have the time to go in there, it's all bullshit. It's all sales. The headline giveth, and the article taketh away.
Videos that I'm using as examples, I deliberately picked because the words the AI was getting wrong were consistently interpreted wrong and were easily found in the video titles. So with the context from the titles, they should have been easy to figure out, which means that it's very, very likely that for some reason the YouTube's transcription AI cannot make use of the titles or descriptions of the videos doing the transcription. Yeah. Now, I don't know why that is, but it seems illogical.
Because they didn't program it to do that. It was based on older stuff. They don't have to, look, man, all they're doing is a sales pumping thing. They're not actually trying to fix this stuff. Because look at this stuff. It hasn't changed in years. It's all the same crap. There was a period of time when we were clipping along and everything was new because they were acquiring a bunch of companies that had done a bunch of work that you didn't see. Behind the scenes, it was, Google did. Oh, no, Google acquired it. Well, there was some small company somewhere cranking out something just to get paid out, and then once they got paid out, they're done. They go on vacation. Or Google hires them, puts them in a cage somewhere, says don't come out. And then once they see how this thing's all put together, and there's nobody at Google actually knows what they're doing except the people they acquired, they're like, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go explore something else. They bounce. They take the check and they bounce, man. What do you think this is? You're not doing this for your health. Most people are not in this business for their health. Like some people like me and him like it, but once I got a chance to once I sold my first company, I was like, I'm out of here. You guys are crazy. This is too much. Someone did something else for a while, came back and like, okay, let's see where you're at now.
Conclusion. So it's likely to be infeasible, if not impossible, to apply the context of the
And here we are with this stuff. He's like, oh, it's just impossible statistics. I like to contact somebody. No. Look, man, they don't want to hear from you. The news, what your insight is they're fibbing it is actually correct. I know, it's like shocking after years and years of us lying to us. They're lying to us again? Oh!
Title and description to the transcription process, at least not at scale. If that's true, that kind of feels like the memento guy syndrome I've talked about before. Like
Yeah.
the parser has long-term memory from its training data it can use, but it can't hold much in its short-term memory, and its short-term memory doesn't make it to long-term.
They really, we shouldn't be asking this. The fact that we're not asking this means it's not there yet. They're lying. They're lying about everything. They're fibbing. They're talking about all kinds of stuff that ain't real. And the only way to check is like 6 years. Like, hey, wait a second, you guys lied to me. Really? And they got paid all their stock money. They got their stock prices. They got a record quarter, all the bonuses. And it's like, you guys lied to me. Oh, where's the downside? No downside.
I don't know for sure.
So guess what? The lying will continue. What do you expect?
But for purposes of thinking about how you might build your own AI-based product or service, I think it's safe to assume that the specific context and recent information, data that's only existed in the last couple of years, are likely to be a lot more risky to try to build a product on top of compared to older topics that are more common in the training sets. That's a potential risk for the project I'm starting now, which involves using LLMs to summarize research papers that, by definition, involve information that won't have been present in the LLM's training set, but more on that in future videos. I think about risk a lot when it comes to projects. In general, risk is one of the most important factors that I use in deciding what order to build things. People, for some reason, tend to put off the risky things until late in the project, which means that in the likely event that riskier things take longer than you expect, not only are you going to be late, but you're going to be unexpectedly late. So I tend to try to get the risky things out of the way earlier.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't know what the risk is until you already went to it. This is all brand new. A lot of this stuff is brand new territory, using technology that honestly wasn't really meant for this, but they're going to use it anyway.
Well, they might change the schedule, and they might take longer than I thought. But I'd rather get a month into a 6-month project and then realize it's going to be an 8th-month project.
You can't estimate any of that stuff. Nobody can. You can guess, you can kind of maybe how, but the whole thing is like, look, man, the whole thing of the agile stuff wasn't to predict how long these things are going to take to fucking do. Was like, we're going to do the best we can, and we have a month, or you have 2 months, or you have 6 months, and whatever you can fix in 6 months. If you don't have anything to show after that, project gets canceled, and everyone knows. If you're not making any progress, or there's just no not showing any moving forward, you need to go back to the drawing board. It's like, okay, well, somebody will finance it, or they won't. And it will just be the way it is. And there'll be some guy that's grinding away for years and years and years on something with this small team. They're doing it just for fun. And then Google will acquire them. Like, oh my God, Google, you're a genius. Like, no. You just acquired somebody's quiet genius that was not paying attention to all the headlines. It was doing something else completely on their own. People think how this stuff happens is really weird. Because it's like, when you're in it, it's like Google's not making any of this stuff. They're floundering around. They're creating lies and demos that look good for the quarter so they can get their bonuses, so they can get their vacation, so they can cash out their stock price, their stock options. Well, this is not. I wonder if I can contact someone over at Google and do statistical. I'm not sure what their model is. Their model is lying. The model is lying. Until they prove it, it's lying. That's
so
the
I can
model.
take steps to adjust scope or budget or something to try to make everybody as happy as I can. Otherwise, you get 5 months into a 6-month project, and suddenly the time left till completion triples from 1 month to 3.
Yeah, because the last 5% takes 50% of the time. I know, it's a shocker. It's like, well, why didn't you estimate it properly? So, well, did you change a bunch of stuff along the way? Did you give us new information? Were we able to talk to the customer the whole time? No. Well, did you have everything? Have you done this project before recently? That we can show that one took 6 months, and it's gonna be the same kind of project, same technology, same set of people. We can kind of maybe guesstimate it. We probably do it faster. But why are we doing the same thing we just did? That's not software. We're doing new things in software. New things that are risky. That most of them don't work out, and it's random. Which ones that do? Because people give up. If you don't get funded and you have to go back to work, you're not going to do the side project that was where all the stuff comes from. Adventure driven. I like adventure driven. That's why I got a whole series about adventure driven stuff. That's where all this stuff comes from. It doesn't come from Google doing the research scientists and we're going to put $1 billion of servers on that thing. That's not where it comes from.
And most of the stuff that you might be able to push to a later release in order to get your schedule back on track have already been done. I think these kinds of discussions are very useful exercises. One thing that's been very useful in my career when I'm talking to clients and or scoping a project I haven't done before is to look at public examples of projects with related technology and try to extrapolate from that from what's already out there. If there's a feature that a ton of people
Right. When you've already done it, then so you're just doing your own version of it. So you're just doing a feature factory for some other company. Okay, you might be able to estimate it, but you're still the record shows, and all the studies that have been done on these stupid fucking estimates that all these business people expect because they're coming from a production line process from a factory, which we're not making factory, so we're trying to figure out what the factory makes. We're not trying to build a factory, so we have no idea how long this is going to take, unless we're doing exactly what he says. Another crud. That some other application with this set of people, with this set of technologies, running these machines, which is always changing, right? It's always moving forward. So we don't know. There's some new version of the operating system, new version of that thing was broken, or that thing didn't work. It's like constant. And the fact that we still have these working through these same issues that have been around since the 80s. With this in the same exact way. Well, did you update the driver? Now you're using version 0.687. Oh, that's a conflict with the operating system 5.9. It's like, dude, just hey, how about an AI to figure that shit out? Something that's a major problem that causes everyone hours and hours and hours of discomfort and dismay. Like, should you try rebooting it? It's like, yes, I tried rebooting it. It's your fucking software. It's some driver, some conflict, some new operating systems. So the update from Apple deprecated some old thing that you haven't updated. Something. It's not the rebooting. Did you reboot the software? Yes, I rebooted the software. It's not the fucking rebooting.
we have, it's probably easy to build. And if there's a feature that seems like it ought to be there but isn't, or doesn't work right, it's probably a lot more difficult than you'd think.
Yeah, or they are stating way more difficult. But by the time everyone figures it out, they've already gotten paid. So this game will continue until everybody's like, no, demonstrate that. Don't just say it. No headlines. You have to demonstrate all of that, sir. You have to all your claims have to be demonstrated fully by me or independent of somebody else, like this guy. He's always like, I'm trying to use this stuff, and they're saying it works great, and it don't. I have it do some real basic shit. It's like Super gets confused and having me kind of follow up. It just has no idea what you're talking about. We're going to replace a software engineer within a year.
A risk that's either better avoided, or it might be an opportunity to solve a problem that no one else seems to be prioritizing. But it almost certainly means it's worth extra attention. And again, that kind of analysis is the kind of thing that an AI software developer is unlikely to do well. Devin's not going to have a clue about that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Taking a very vague idea and trying to figure out what evidence you can find that will help you narrow down what warrants further investigation in the problem is very incredibly useful if you want to be the kind of developer that decides what ought to be done, as opposed to the kind of developer.
Yeah, that's humans now. They're going to do all that stuff, all the exceptions, all the side cases, like who's it for? Why do they want this? Do we need to put this feature in? Should we delete it? All that stuff's still human-based, and it ain't going to go away. And I'm Chris Athanas, and I currently have a bug in this damn Ecamm software that doesn't let me reduce the echo. This stuff is crazy. Software development is going to be replaced any day now. It's like, no, it ain't.